we went for a little trip to a town called Fulton, South Dakota. And when I think of vision, I think of Fulton, South Dakota now, because you should see what this painter in this town is doing. Got to meet these guys. They're unbelievable. It just struck me as crazy when you think of how vast and how large and how amazing this guy's painting is. And he just has complete vision of exactly what it's all going to look like. And I think in homesteading, we go about our days and we go about our purchases of animals and everything we're doing just kind of day by day, and we don't cast a lot of vision on what our outcome needs to be. And so if we want milk, we go buy us a milk cow, and we buy us the one that we think might be the best or that's available, and then we realize, you know what, we hate cows. And I feel like we never go and talk to the people that have milk cows to see first hand, you know, what's it like to actually own a milk cow. We watch a few videos and we think, oh yeah, I've got some land, I can make some hay, I can do this. And then we realize, like, wow, this animal needs this and this and this, and I can't do it. And lately you know, I've been watching YouTube just like everybody else. And I've been watching animals die, whether it's sheep or a milk cow, or, you know, just these tragic things happening to these animals. And I'm not saying it's something that they're doing wrong, but I just think that as homesteaders, we can do a better job of doing our homework. And if there's anything that I can cast on other people for you to think about is, if you're gonna buy a milk cow, if you're gonna buy goats, if you're going to buy you know, any critter, go hang out with people that own that critter. See what kind of breed works best on your place. We've gone through it all. We've had sheep, we've had pigs, we've had goats, we've had ducks, turkeys, and we've just realized that some of that stuff doesn't work. And I wish we would have gone to somebody who has sheep and seen how they graze and what they eat, and knowing that sometimes they're a little bit harder keeper, and you don't know what's wrong with them until they like tip over, because they're so resilient until they're really, really sick, and then they're gone. And we're just lucky that none of ours died, but we got rid of them and we ended up getting goats. But the goat story with us is, we had those Nubian goats before. That didn't turn out very good. They got really bad arthritic disease in their joints, and they could hardly walk, and it was terrible to watch. And we ended up having to get rid of all of them, even though they were easy keepers and great animals to have. But we found out through that you know, we really do like those animals, and we're gonna get more. And so that's what we did, but we got different breeds a little bit. We got it from one single place instead of just getting it from friends who thought this friend had great goats and whatever else. And we talked to the breeder a long time, actually. And she had a lot of really, really good things to say. So that's what the rest of this video is really about, is how to pick out goats, how to pick out the critters that you want. And I just would say, if you're gonna do that, it's great to have those animals, but do your homework. See what you do like, what you don't like, and then go visit, you know, go visit those people that have those animals. It's well worth your time.
My name is Margie Dosh. I've been around animals all my life. I particularly love goats. My son Darren and his wife Michelle and I have taken on goats again, dairy as well as meat goats. As a first-time goat owner, there's a lot to consider. Number one would be housing. Goats don't like to be wet. They don't like the cold and the snow and the rain. You have to have tall fences because they're escape artists. If there's any way to get out, they will. And they can get into all kinds of trouble. People buy them when they're little and cute and warm and fuzzy and take them home and think what a great pet I have and let them jump all over them as babies, and the problem is they get big, and once they learn those bad habits they carry them through to adulthood, and it's not so much fun when that animal is 150 pounds and wanting to jump on you. And especially the bucks, they can get mean, and that is a bad thing, and especially if you have children around. You need to make sure that you keep their hooves trimmed, which is a huge project, especially on the dairy stuff. Some of the meat goats, for instance, the Kiko breed of meat goat, they are known for having low parasite issues and hooves that very seldom need to be trimmed. They're a very old breed of meat goat that comes from New Zealand, and not quite as muscular as the boar, but there's a lot of very positive things about the Kiko. And we do have some Kikos in our herd as well as boars, and we're crossing them and finding that it's a great cross. Feed-wise, goats do not eat tin cans. They're very, very fussy about their feed. If it gets contaminated, you might as well forget that they're going to eat it, because they'll let it lay there and rot. So you need to have them on a good feed program where you know how much they're going to eat every feeding, so that they clean it up and it doesn't go to waste, because feed is very expensive. A lot of these young ones, we just feed grass, hay, as well as grain. We have a grain mix that is corn, oats, a complete pellet, and then we put a probiotic in there, which helps with their digestion, and it helps them to get every bit of nutrient out of the feed that they're eating that's possible. It puts a great shine on them, and they do beautiful on it. Right here, these are from our kid crop from this year that we weaned at 8 weeks old. When we wean, we vaccinate everybody for C, D, and T. We do the mothers as well, because mothers get tetanus and they can overeat too. We also give them deworming. That's a huge thing, at least twice a year. When the mothers go out of the pen, they get their hooves trimmed, they get dewormed, they get C, D, and T, and that will carry through their milk into the babies. And then at weaning time, the babies get C, D, and T, and then after 4 weeks, we give them a booster shot of C, D, and T, and then they're in pretty good shape until we get ready to breed. Well, these are our dairy goats. They're alpine, and we do have some purebred Nubians which are out in the herd. We did not milk them this year. We didn't think we would need the milk. However, that was a mistake, because now we're feeding 14 bottle calves, and now we have to buy some milk replacer because these 7 does just can't quite feed that many. But anyway, I love the alpine and the Nubian. I love the richness of their milk. I love their temperament. They're very personable. I guess I choose a dairy goat about the same way I do any other goat. I guess a huge thing though is their udder. What does that udder look like? A lot of them will milk as first-time fresheners, and sometimes that's when they're yearlings, and sometimes it's when they're 2-year-olds. It just depends on when we breed them. The lifetime of that milker depends on how well she's been taken care of. You know, I've had goats that I've milked until they laid down and died, which is 12, 13 years. I've had, like for instance, that one right there. She's a tremendous milker. I milked her for 2 years straight, and we just couldn't dry her up. And finally, we took her and put her in a separate pen and only gave her grass hay and water, and forced her to dry up because we thought it would be in her best interest, and take a year off, and then we rebred her, and we're milking again. She's just as loyal as can be, and the milk is phenomenal. It's white and so sweet. It makes beautiful breads and soups, and oh my gosh, hot chocolate to die for. If you have a separator, you can separate that milk and churn the butter, the cream into butter. You'll never taste anything as wonderful as butter made from goat's cream. Anyway, the goats are very personable, and they catch on really easily to a new environment. We just started milking them in that little shed there, and the first time we ran them into milk, it took us 3 hours. Darren was pulling and Michelle was pushing, and within 3 days I was able to milk myself with a little coaxing, and within a week's time they just run right in, and now they don't want to go out because it's cool in there. We have air conditioning and they like it. So they just, after their milk, they lay down and I have to coax them out. But anyway, most of these here are cross, Nubian Alpine, and I love the cross. I think it just makes such a nice sound, big-bodied milker, and they milk great. If I can't get 2 quarts of milking, then I usually send them down the road, and that's really good. So
yeah. And ultimately, you need to be able to cast a vision on what you're doing. Cast a vision on your homestead. Don't work just day to day and whatever, but have vision so that you know where you're going to end up. You know what animals you really need to have to fulfill the dreams and desires that your family wants. And you're not just buying and buying and buying and realizing it's not working out. And it's so easy for us homesteaders who aren't doing it in big herds and big numbers and whatever else to get caught up in buying a few things here and a few things there, and we throw up a shed here for this and some kind of lean-to there for that. Have vision. And so that's what we're working on 20 Acre Farms, is all about how to cast vision. And if you like that, make sure you do like and subscribe what we're doing here. Be a part of the community, and leave a comment below on what kind of vision you have for your homestead. What is the ultimate dream, and how are you going to get there? Thanks for watching.